Today I'm going to be talking about Destiny 2 and my opinions on how good it is as an overall game. I will be giving it an overall score as well as going into different aspects of the game that I think are important. I will be giving it scores on 5 different areas of criteria. These 5 areas are going to be stability and quality, gameplay, content, aesthetic style, and overall enjoyment. Let's get into it. I gave this category an 18. The reason for this high of a score is the fact that I have never really had a bad amount of error codes, and at most I only hit around 20 error codes and 2 crashes in the 7 years that I've been playing this game, which is pretty great compared to some of the other games of its caliber. On the other hand, I didn't give this game a perfect score of 20 because the maps for certain game modes were just broken in key aspects. For the most part, raids are pretty solid other than the pretty frequent and relatable instances of death by geometry. For people who don't play Destiny, that is when you die because of hitting a piece of the map at just the wrong angle and it just kills you. For no reason other than fuck you, that's why. Along the same vein of thought, the Gamba maps have this really annoying thing where the key mechanic of the game mode are these things called motes. Motes are these small triangular objects that are meant to be collected and deposited into a bank. Seems pretty simple, right? But they consistently fall under the map, and it gets really fucking annoying when all you need is that one last mote, and it's right there in front of you, you just can't pick it up. Then you get killed by Invader because you took too much time dicking around with the mote you should have picked up minutes ago, which pretty much ruins the entire game for you and your team. So, even though this game has great overall quality and stability, these are the few things that keep it from being perfect in my eyes. Because quality isn't just stability and how good the game is. It is all the quality of the specific details that make the game. And that big of a bug that hasn't been fixed in the last 7 years of playing, or the last however long game it's been around, really keeps it from allowing me to give it a perfect 20 score. Perfect 20 for gameplay is so deserved for this game, and here's why. People love to say that this game is only one thing. Shooting stuff, shooting more stuff, then maybe if I'm not too busy, shooting some more motherfucking stuff. To those people I say, well yeah, it's a shooter. For me, this isn't really a great argument that drops the quality of gameplay for 2 main reasons. First, there's a lot more to do than just shooting. There are crazy game-changing abilities to use, build creation, loot to collect, and a story and lore to get sucked into.
The witness is coming. The game is yours to play now.
Albeit not all the story is amazing, but there are some amazing story beats in this franchise, but I digress. Second, the raids have full-blown puzzle mechanics. And I know a lot of people who do the raids, they look up a guide, they watch a YouTuber do it, they watch the worlds first, and they don't go and actually figure out the puzzle mechanics on their own. But that's the whole point of having puzzle mechanics in the game, is for that it's a puzzle. Puzzles aren't fun if somebody shows you how to figure out the puzzle. So by doing that, you're eliminating 90% of what raids are. If you're watching puzzle guides, then yeah, sure, the game is just shooting stuff. I mean, once obviously puzzles have a life cycle, once you figure out all the stuff towards the puzzle and you figuring out the secret, it's pretty much just shooting there, and at that point, it's grinding for the weapons, armor, and general loot that you get from these raids to level up your character and become the strongest you can. If you want more than that, then what is it? What more do you want? And what game honestly offers that? Because from what I know, you're not going to find puzzles, shooting design, movement design, ability casting, and enemy density wrapped up in a really polished package anywhere other than Destiny. The closest thing I can think of is Warframe. But even then, Warframe lacked the lore and puzzles for me when I played it. It just had the sense of small condensed maps that felt like arenas connected by a small little doorway and just packed full of enemies to shoot down. And there was really no puzzle or really anything to the areas other than shoot, go, shoot. Which is great, but it's not quite Destiny. That's besides the point. All of this is why I think this game gets a 20, because it just outperforms most, if not all, of the games in its genre. Okay, let's be honest. There is a content drought in Destiny at the moment. I won't deny it, most of the player base won't deny it, and any newcomer who comes into the game probably will deny it because it seems like there's a wellspring of like 6 years of content going back. I actually don't know how long Destiny 2 has been out, but there's a lot of content to go through. But if you're a guy who plays every month or in every day, and every time a new season comes out, it's kind of a content drought once you finish everything. The main reason for this feeling of low content is based in a couple key areas. The three are: Gambit hasn't changed in over a year. Crucible, the maps and game modes feel shallow and unfulfilling. And third, seasonal content. Weekly missions, rewards, lore, and the battle pass rewards are just flat out kind of boring and basically a snooze fest. First, I will tackle Gambit. The idea is better than the product. For most of the Destiny 2 community, myself included, Gambit is a game mode that you will need to force yourself to do in order to get weekly challenges done for the max weekly rewards. And we all think, I'm pretty good at raids and Grandmasters. I could just load myself with my most busted builds and get it done. Right? Wrong. What happens is you go in there by yourself and maybe with a friend. What you'll do is you'll try to complete the objective and win and get the motes, etc. But what you're hit with is some of the most frustratingly brain-dead people in a video game I can ever imagine. Actively grabbing lots of motes and not banking them, but inevitably dying with all of them, losing the 15 motes, effectively putting your team a good amount behind the other team. And in Gambit, there's a very few ways to come back from that. Yes, I know people are going to say that you can invade the other side and kill the enemy team. But other than that, there's really no way to get ahead. And by delaying them. Yeah, you can go over there, but if you're not good at PvE, this game is heavily reliant on PvP skill to be good at. And that basically makes it a second PvP mode out of the 3 game modes available. And then don't even get me started that there has been no new maps or boss encounters or mechanics, for instance, that have been updated to make Gambit interesting and not painstaking, let alone fun. And I know it's PvP, but can't we think of anything other than motes? Really? Like, for instance, here, just shooting off the top of my head, reverse capture the flag. The players on a team have to take something, a MacGuffin, it could be anything you like, taken power, motes, for instance, a staff, or whatever the fuck, from their side, and bank it on the opposing team's side. I think you get what I'm saying. Just something simple. It doesn't really have to be something crazy. Just something simple. Throw a few ads in. Maybe you don't even go to the other team's side. Maybe you go to a boss room where you have to try to navigate a jumping puzzle with the thing, and you slam it into the boss's head. I don't know. Something. Give me something. Anyway, I do have a lot of problems with Gambit. So in this instance, I think you get it, and I will cease my rambling and move on to point 2. Crucible has a lot of problems, yes. Am I going to go on a long rant about them? No. For anyone new to Destiny 2, I will say Crucible can be fun, especially now that skill-based matchmaking is finally implemented. That definitely fixed some of my overall gripes with Crucible, but not all of them. For one, the level design has felt very lane-heavy for the last 2 to 4 seasons. It's just a lot of lanes, not a lot of intricate maps and corners to be covered and stuff like that. And I know there's a shotgun and there was, actually, I'll correct myself, there was a shotgun and a pulse rifle meta. As of now, it's not pulse. I know there was a shotgun and fusion rifle meta, but now it really seems like it's been outshadowed by pulse rifles. Everyone's just sitting in the back of their lanes, hitting people in headshots, and playing very boringly, if you will. I don't mind pulse rifles all too much, but I've heard this from a good number of the Destiny community. Also, we've only gotten 3 total new maps since February of 2022, with the expansion The Witch Queen. And 2 of those maps are returning, so there's not really a lot of content that's offered from there. You could even do 2 maps a season. I don't know, that might be hard. I don't know what it's like to make maps, but in my opinion, I don't think that's too hard to offer. 2 maps a season seems fine. And then switch up the map design a little bit. Don't focus on lanes too much, and just throw some maps out there and go ahead from there. Anyway, on to my last point. Lastly, and most importantly, we have the weekly season missions. They've been so uninteresting these last 2 seasons. First season of the Recycled, where everything was reused from earlier stuff, and now the current season of the Monotonous. I know what you're going to say, but space pirates are cool. What about Treasure Planet? And yeah, I get your point. I love the idea of space pirates myself, but I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Bungie has made me hate the idea. There's so much more potential with the story that they've offered, and yet I can't help myself feeling more entertained by the fact that the battle bus from Fortnite is at the social area, or that I have a 1 in 3 chance of getting a red bar weapon from the spider, or that the drifter's real name is... Oh, you almost got me. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. But anyway, you get my point. I don't know if it's the stakes, or the characters, or the repetitive weekly missions, but something just turns it all into this white noise that I could care less about. And I hate it, because I know there is great stuff here. Witch Queen was an amazing story. Setup and execution. So where is all that for the middle portion of this game, where we spend 80% of our year? Anyway, that was a lot. And to give you the skinny of it, the DLCs and raids are great. There's been some misses in the past with raids and expansions, but recently we've gotten one banger after another. We've gotten Witch Queen, was awesome. The raid was a little lackluster, but it was something different than Moats, which is amazing in my opinion. And secondly, we're gotten Lightfall, which is a couple months away, but it's right around the corner. And I really hope that does great, because that just is going to be putting us more and more into the future for better stuff. But the mid-year content and sustainability, it's just so dry, it's hard to justify staying for every new week or seasonal start, which is why I gave it a 13. This game is a clear 20. I mean, if you just open up this game, play it for 5 minutes, you can see it's amazing. It accomplished everything it tries to convey with its visuals, a high-definition, deeply detailed sci-fi fantasy with flashy magical abilities. I mean, really, what else is there? I mean, there's guns, also amazing. As well, as far as audio design, it's top of its class. It's nothing compared to a game that's dedicated for its audio design, something like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, but it still stands out in its own genre. To bring up another fact of the sound design, the soundtracks are just some of the greatest soundtracks in games, I think, ever. Maybe not ever. There's a lot of people who will probably argue that fact with their favorite game from the 1990s or whatever, but if you just look up any of the soundtracks from the game, they're gonna feel like full-on movie scores. That one guy, Hans Zimmer, it feels like all of them are made by Hans Zimmer, if I'm being honest. Well, not all of them, but you get it. Other than that, I couldn't think of how this game could get better looking other than hardware advancements and allowing the game to just have more of what it already has. Surprisingly, after all the praise I've given this game in the last couple things, I'm going to give this game a 16 for overall enjoyment. While there are many of the aspects I respect and enjoy about this game, I really only play this game when I know I will be playing with other people, because that's where this game shines. And for me, I really only play this game when I know I will be playing with other people, because that's where this game shines, is with your friends or with a raid team, just either shooting the shit or having a great time figuring out puzzles and doing activities together as friends. Because if I'm just by myself, because by myself, I'm just farming things that are cool at the moment and fun, and it's fun to play around with for a moment. But unless I'm forcing myself to farm levels or on my crafted gun or gain light levels to be the required light to join people for raids and such, I find myself wanting to play other games. Okay, that's a bit harsh. Obviously, I would rather play Destiny instead of Overwatch or, God forbid, Battlefield 2042. But you get what I'm saying. In conclusion, I think Destiny is a very well-made game that sits at the top of its class as an MMO, RPG, FPS, with great raids and gunplay to compound on an ever-expanding lore going back almost 10 years now. Even though it has its pitfalls of content droughts and bad decisions, not vaulting the Jotun, I will still give this game a score of 87, making it an excellent and really well-made game that everyone that likes shooters and is tired of the PvP regurgitation should indulge in.